Testing, testing. Microphone. Microphone. So today's spooky season makeup look is inspired by these adorable little ghosties that I saw in the Michael's Halloween collection. I love this new wave of pink and glittery, cutesy, girly pop Halloween decorations. So I'm going to do a makeup look today inspired by that. I'm going in with my Colourpop Fade into Hue palette. I've had this for years and many of the shades have hit the pan already. We are gonna go with the pink section, what's left of it. I'm using the Sephora number 20 angled eyebrow brush, and we are going in with the shade Paradise, or what's left of it, and I'm going to fill in my brows. And then to give it a little more of a shape, I'm going to use the Morphe M165 brush and some Hourglass concealer in the shade Cream. And we are going to arch the brows, give it kind of a shape. So if you've been on my channel thus far, you know that I struggle with brow symmetry. It is not one of my strengths. And what I started doing recently is going like this and figuring out the brow shape from there. And I don't know, it works with brow symmetry. I'm gonna darken the ends a little bit with the NYX Lift and Snatch in the shade Ash Brown. That's lovely. We can fix that. Alright, to prepare the eyelids, we are going to use the P. Louise eyeshadow base in the shade Rumor 02. I'm using the Sephora Pro Concealer number 57 brush. And now that we have a nice tacky base, I'm going to go in with that same shade, Paradise, and we are going to map out our crease shape. I'm going to darken this with a shade from the Ellis Atlantis Blend Bunny Cosmetics collab. I'm gonna go in with Ecliptic. And now that we have the darker color as a baseline, I'm gonna go back in with the Fade into Hue shade Paradise, and we are gonna do some buffing. It's gonna look crazy before it looks good. So this is the point where you want to go back in with your crease brush and your darker shade and just go back and forth with the lighter shade and the darker shade and just try to create a seamless blend. Then I'm gonna grab a fluffier brush in the shade Lovecraft and buff the whole thing out and keep going back when necessary into the darker shades to create a seamless blend. Trust the process. Alright, now that we have a beautiful blend, we are going to cut the crease. We're going back again with that P. Louise base, and we are gonna cut the crease. We're gonna try to replicate the same thing on the other side. Keyword, try. Alright, now we are going to cut the crease with the P. Louise Cut Carver. If you just have Vaseline, that is completely fine. Take the Q-tip and wipe away the excess. Try not to poke your eyeball. All right, now that we have a clean-ish base, I'm gonna go in with the Hourglass concealer, and I'm just gonna do like the outer corner of my eye. As the inner part, I'm gonna do something different, and we are going to buff that out. And if you have a little oopsie like this, you can take a skinny little brush like that, take your darkest shade, and just fill in where you had a little oopsie. Here you go. Where were we? I'm gonna go back in with that shade Paradise. You don't have to do this, but if you want to kind of ascertain the shape of where your makeup is going, you can use washi tape just so you have some idea as to where the direction of your liner is gonna go. But if not, you can just clean it up with concealer afterwards, whatever you prefer. To bring a little darkness to the lash line, I'm going to use this Sephora Collection crayon eyeliner. Sadly, I think it was discontinued, but you can use any crayon black liner to get where you're going, and gonna try and use that darker shade Ecliptic to blend it all together. Alright, now in the inner part, I'm going to use the Trixie Cosmetics Jackie Frost from her Stay the Night Shimmer Topper collection. And this is going to be the inner crease moment. Okay, so wow, this pigment is nuts. I'm going to blend it out a little bit using the shade Transcend from the Ellis Atlantis Blend Bunny palette, and just try and blend it all out. Now, before we do the cutesy little ghosty stuff, we are gonna do the base. I'm going to use the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It's got like this really nice jelly texture, which I really like. It really grips onto your foundation. And I'm going in with the Makeup Forever HG Skin foundation. So quite a while ago, when I was not doing so well, the brand Carla Cosmetics sent me some PR, and one of them is this makeup fixing spray. And what I do is I put it on in between layers of foundation. My foundation looks amazing when I do this, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it a few sprays, let that dry. And then once that dries, you can put your second layer of foundation. And once you're set with powder and sprayed and everything, it just looks fabulous. Going in with my cream Hourglass concealer under the eyes, forehead, chin, nosy, tiny little sponge. I'm gonna do cream blush. I'm gonna use the One Size Cheek Clapper Trio in Attention Seeker. The cream blush is called Thirsty, and we are gonna put that on the cheeks, because this is gonna be a very pink look. I'm gonna put some on the nosy as well. And then for setting powder, I'm going in with this perhaps expired Lancome translucent setting powder. I'm just gonna go all in. Now, lately for contour, I've been using the Sephora Collection contour powder, which has been fabulous. It's just lovely. It really helps shape out my face the way I want it to be shaped. Fabulous. Okay, so for blush, we are going back in with the One Size Trio, and we are using the shade Yes Sir. And we are going to tap, overdo it on the blush because it is that type of look. Gorgeous. For the under eye, going back in with the Sephora collection, trying not to poke my eyeball, and buffing it out. And finishing it out with a fluffy brush with the lighter shades. Now for the artsy part, I'm gonna work with the Trixie Cosmetics mixing plate, and I'm gonna try using this Inglot mixing liquid. I think you're supposed to mix it with eyeshadow and it forms like a liquid paint liner, so we're gonna try that. I'm gonna use this You Had Me at Aloha palette from Cara Beauty. I'm gonna choose a pink shade here. Let's do Sorbet. All right, this is that. And we are gonna use a drop or two of the Inglot, mix it all together, and let's see what happens. Ooh, okay. This is kind of like a liquid, okay, it's like a paint. All right, we are gonna draw the Ghosties. Add this color. This is a trust the process kind of moment here. All right, now that's more like it. More of a hot pink, I like that. For this last ghosty, I'm actually gonna use a bubblegum pink liquid lipstick. This is the Maybelline Liquid to Matte Lipstick in the shade Dreamer. For the little eyes, I'm gonna use the Velour eyeliner. This is cute. All right, I'm gonna do the finishing touches. This is looking kind of adorable. Let's do a lip. For lip liner, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip liner in the shade Rose Dream. We're gonna use the NYX Lingerie in the shade Pushed Up to do the outer part. And then on the inside, we're gonna do that very same Maybelline Dreamer shade. All right, we are gonna dust off the excess here and do one final set with the One Size setting spray. We are gonna highlight with that same shimmer from the Ellis palette. I put some lashes on and I added some glitter sparkly moment to the other ghosties. This is the finished look. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.